Hey guys, it's Jonathan Reich, licensed CPA in the state of Louisiana, and today we're going to talk about expediting your ERC refund and the best practices for quick processing. Now I want to go ahead and preempt this video and let you guys know that the IRS does not have a surefire, we can get this process right now immediately type of system in place, and you are going to be at the whim of the IRS. There is no legitimate way to expedite the processing of your ERC claim other than having filed, waiting the recommended timeline, doing your due diligence, and reaching out. If a company reaches out to you and says, we can get your claim for you faster, it is a scam. It's raising red flags, and just be wary of that. There are other financial services such as bridge loans and things like that, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later in the video, but this is going to be more so focusing on expediting based on best practices for filing. So today we're going to go over understanding what exactly the ERC is and was, how to gather the required documentation, what you need to file, some common application mistakes that do cause those delays in obtaining your ERC refund. We're going to discuss the pros and cons of using professional services, different filing methods, how to follow up, and then leveraging resources with the IRS. And then we'll wrap it up with some FAQs. So what exactly was the employee retention credit? Most business owners at this point are familiar with it, and there's tons of videos on thedigitalmerchant.com that kind of review it. The ERC was basically a payroll tax credit designed to keep business owners from firing their employees during the COVID-19 pandemic, basically creating a cascading effect in the economy. If I lay off my workforce, they can't take their paycheck and spend it at other businesses who then lay off their workforce, and then it's a vicious cycle. So the ERC was to help prevent that during the pandemic. Basically, it just helped stabilize the economy, and then it offered cash flow improvements, allowing for operational needs to be met during that time of uncertainty. So how do you apply for the ERC? Basically, you use Form 941, which is a payroll tax return form. Right now, because we've already passed 2020 and 2021, we're mid 2025 now. You would use Form 941X, which is just an amended payroll tax form, basically doing a look back for those periods. You would collect the records related to payroll, how much you paid, how many employees you had, what the payroll tax was. You would submit that in conjunction with Form 941 to the IRS, and then any additional documents such as financial statements that showed a loss that make you eligible, government mandated shutdown orders, things like that, in order to claim the credit. So it's kind of a complicated credit to claim. That is why sometimes we do recommend using professionals to help claim it, but a dedicated business owner can do it by themselves, and it's by no means so convoluted that you must hire a professional. All right, so what are the things that cause delays in receiving your ERC refund? The biggest and easiest to avoid is incomplete information. Fill out every form necessary on that 941, any boxes that need to be populated. Don't omit information. Be transparent, be thorough. That right there is going to be 95% of what you need to do in order to prevent a delay in your processing. The other thing is, don't be sloppy with your work. If you've got incorrect calculations for what you paid in payroll and it doesn't match what the Social Security office has on file, the IRS is going to say, wait, there's a mismatch, we're going to have to go through this, find the difference. Just make sure all your calcs are correct. I mean, that's as simple as plugging it into an Excel file and having it run those payroll numbers and then using the sum total there. Don't forget to include any necessary documents that you might need with that 941X, such as those government mandated shutdown orders that show that you are eligible, or any financial statements that show that you may have had a loss in those 2020 and 2021 years due to the COVID pandemic. Alright guys, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, sometimes we do recommend using professional services. Typically they're going to be a little bit more nuanced and have a little bit more experience when it comes to payroll tax. Payroll tax is its own dedicated field, just like income tax or sales tax. You really want someone who knows kind of their field whenever you're applying for a credit like this. The other thing is it saves business owners time, and they're going to be able to help you find the maximum refund, make sure that you're actually getting what you're entitled to. One of the major drawbacks of using a professional service firm, though, is Either if it's like a CPA firm or a law firm who's helping you do it, they're going to charge by the hour, typically anywhere from $150 to maybe $350 an hour, or they're going to charge you a percentage of the return. So maybe if you're using just a typical ERC company, it could be anywhere from 7 to 12% of your refund. If your refund is $500,000, that stacks up pretty quick. I mean, that could be $35,000 to help get this credit claimed on your behalf. Now, one thing I do want to call out, just like I mentioned on that first slide, if someone tells you that they can get your credit for you faster than anybody else, it is a scam. Red flags go up, and you need to be very wary working with that company. There are legitimate companies that offer financial packages, such as a bridge loan that says, hey, we'll loan you this money at X rate for 90 days or until we get that refund, and then you just pay us back with your refund because we know you're going to get it. There are products like that in place, but I must reiterate, there is no way to actually expedite the processing of your ERC refund legitimately. There are other financial solutions, but if a company tells you they can get it faster, they are lying. Alright, let's talk about the best practices for filing. Electronic filing is always going to be best through the IRS's portal. You can submit that 941X. It's absolutely going to be faster than something such as a paper filing where you have to mail it in. You're going to have to wait for USPS to process it. Someone at the IRS office is going to have to open it, scan it in, add it to the business's file. It's probably just best if you're trying to electronically file. The other thing that we can use to file is that third party that we talked about. If you're going to hire a professional, go ahead and hire them, pay them that exuberant rate, pay them for their expertise and what they know, and they'll typically electronically file it on your behalf. There might be some delays though because they are going to have to get power of attorney. They're going to have to file Form 2848 with the IRS, which basically says it's okay for them to work on your behalf, things like that. But in my opinion, it's best to electronically file or use a third party, and then if for whatever reason, if you're stuck in the Stone Age, go ahead and mail it in to them. If you mail it in, expect it to take longer. Electronic filing is best. I must reiterate that if you are really looking to expedite your ERC refund. So let's say you have e-filed with the IRS and it's been 60 days, 90 days. You've submitted everything, you feel like you did it correctly. Now what? You still haven't gotten your money. You're looking forward to getting a couple $100,000 to really help cash flow your business, maybe do a capital project or expand. First things first, follow up with them. You can reach out to the IRS hotline. It's a direct line to the IRS. They'll connect you with an agent if you can get through. It often is challenging. A lot of times you'll get a busy phone signal, and you just have to keep calling back until eventually you get through. That's how busy they are. The other thing is make sure you have all your records. Whenever you get on the phone with that agent, if you don't know what you filed and you can't confirm it's what the IRS has on file, you're wasting your time, you're wasting the agent's time. The other thing is make sure to follow up periodically. Don't wait 8 months and then say, where's my refund? Check in every month. Be diligent. Make sure that you let the agency know that you are looking for this refund, that it's causing grievances, and that you are entitled to the money that you're entitled to. The other thing you can do is you can have a professional reach out. If they have that power of attorney and can work on your behalf, you can have them follow up monthly. But the key takeaway from this is don't be passive. Don't be reactive. Go ahead and be proactive. Reach out, do your due diligence, and make sure that you're watching to ensure that you receive the funds that you're entitled to. So as previously mentioned, you can call the IRS directly. They have dedicated hotlines for applicant inquiries through their phone tree if you can get through. What I would recommend is typically just go online and check. A lot of times you can log in to the IRS's portal, log in as a taxpayer, use your social security number, a bunch of private information that only you would know, and you can kind of see where you are in the queue for processing. A lot of times that won't change though until just one day you see it's being processed and it's about to be sent back out to you. The other thing you can do is if you're not certain kind of where to start with all this, go online. They have a bunch of FAQs regarding the ERC credit. That can kind of walk you through on what to expect, estimated timelines for processing, things like that. And the final, I guess, silver bullet you could say is the TAS, which is Taxpayer Advocate System. It's kind of a watchdog group for the IRS to make sure that citizens of the United States, like me and you, are being taken care of and that the IRS is doing what they're supposed to. You could file a case with the TAS, kind of airing your grievances, why this is being detrimental to you or your business, and they can advocate on your behalf and potentially kind of push through that paperwork for the IRS. That is kind of a process. It's a headache, and if you've been waiting for years, that's when I would recommend using the TAS. But there are options, and you can leverage those options so you're not just sitting in the dark wondering where your funds are. As a wrap, so key strategies, make sure you file the ERC correctly. That's step one. Make sure everything is filed timely, make sure it's filed correctly, you didn't forget anything, make sure you included all the necessary paperwork, and make sure to e-file. Really try to avoid mailing in a paper return if at all possible. And then keep that documentation on hand whenever you go to reach out, and because you're trying to stay updated and you're trying to be proactive. If you don't have that information on what your credit amount should be, when you submitted it, what all did you send with the return, do the numbers match what the IRS has, or do they have something different? Now you can look at your information and say, well, this is why I have this, and you can walk through it with that agent. These are just some basic steps to make sure that they're not withholding the funds and you're not waiting on them, and that's going to allow you to expedite receiving them to run your business. And then the other thing is reach out periodically. Make sure to keep the IRS on their toes. Use that online portal, reach out to agents, or have your professional firm reach out on your behalf. There are options that can streamline getting your refund faster, but as a final reminder to wrap this video, if there is a company out there asking for money to say, we will get your refund faster than anyone else, they are lying. Do not do business with that company. Do your due diligence. Do the things that are in this video that are legitimate, and that will increase the likelihood that you're going to receive your funds in the fastest timeline possible.